Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And today with the barkat of that sacrifice, we have 5,734 hadith from one Sahabi, Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala. Great Sahabi, great sacrifices. Likewise, all the other Sahaba also, if you look at different battles, how they have given their lives in order to safeguard Islam, to propagate Islam. The enemies, the onslaught of the enemies has come, but they have stood firm. Sometimes one hand is cut, the flag is put on the other hand. That is cut, the flag is held in the teeth, the flag of Islam. This was the sacrifice they had given, not only with time, but with their lives, with their blood, with their wives, with their families, to safeguard the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why today we have the deen secure. And this was the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this ummah, that our deen is not just like any other way of life. No, it is absolutely correct and accurate and authentic from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam right up to us. There are hadiths, for example, that are narrated in Bukhari Sharif from Imam Bukhari, his ustad, the tabi'een, to the Sahaba, from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then this chain of narrators from our mashayikh, especially from the Indo-Pak area of Shah Waliullah rahmatullahi, his chain of narrators from him right up to Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi. Then the people that studied by them in the Indo-Pak subcontinent, people like us that went to study, our chain of narration meets up with Shah Waliullah rahmatullahi. So if you get a hadith from a person like me who learned from Allah bin Nuri rahmatullahi, then if you look at his chain of narrators, they lead up to the Asatullah, like Imam Bukhari, to the authors of the kitabs. And their chain of narrators leads up to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That means this hadith that we are narrating, it's from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam right up to you, right here in New York, with a chain of narrators that is continuously coming right from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to us. So how authentic is that? How authentic is that? And the first people who made the great sacrifice for us to reach us were the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We should always hold them in high esteem. Ashabi kan nujum, whoever my Sahaba are like stars, whomsoever you will follow, you will be successful. Imagine this is given by who? Certificate is given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to them. Whomsoever you will follow, you will be successful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, radiyallahu anhum wa radu anhum. Allah is pleased with them, and they are pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the whole world gets together and begins to throw dirt towards the Sahaba, abuse towards the Sahaba, makes no difference to them. It's like throwing something towards the sun. We're not going to reach the sun. So they are above all that. So we should be very wary. There are people now, even now in our midst, that held abuse towards the Sahaba. Ma'azillah, they say the Sahaba turn apostate and become murtad after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put it in the Quran, right up to the day of judgment, their position and their maqam. And these people say that no, ma'azillah, they are out of Islam. Allah ta'ala says, radiyallahu anhu wa radu an, but they say no, we are not happy with them. We are not happy with them. Allah ta'ala says, they are happy with us, then we are happy with them. If the whole world is unhappy with them, it makes no difference. So we should be very wary. You should hold them in high esteem and great respect to the Sahaba. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has warned in many ahadith regarding the status of the Sahaba. You don't speak evil about my Sahaba. مَنْ أَحَبَّهُمْ فَبِحُبِّي أَحَبَّهُمْ وَمَنْ أَبْغَضَهُمْ فَبِبُغْضِي أَبْغَضَهُمْ. Whoever loves them because of my love. He loves me, that's why I love my companions. وَمَنْ أَبْغَضَهُمْ فَبِبُغْضِي أَبْغَضَهُمْ. Whoever detests them and hates them and looks down upon them and dislikes them, is because he dislikes me. In other words, disliking the Sahaba is like disliking Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A person cannot say, I love Rasulullah and I dislike the Sahaba. You cannot say that. And when people spoke evil about the Sahaba, then وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمِنُوا كَمَا آمَنَ النَّاسِ قَالُوا أَنُؤْمِنُ كَمَا آمَنَ السُّفَهَاءُ. Allah Ta'ala narrates the second page here in Surah Al-Baqarah, that when it was told to the people that bring Iman, كَمَا آمَنَ النَّاسِ, like the Sahaba brought Iman. And what did they say? وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمِنُوا كَمَا آمَنَ النَّاسِ قَالُوا أَنُؤْمِنُ كَمَا آمَنَ السُّفَهَاءُ. Should we bring Iman, ma'adallah, Allah forbid, like these stupid fools? Then what does Allah Ta'ala say? أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ السُّفَهَاءُ. The people who are saying this, they are fools. Allah Ta'ala is defending the Sahaba and replying on behalf of the Sahaba. أَلَا إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ السُّفَهَاءُ وَلَكِنْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. They are fools and they have no understanding, but they do not know. So this is the maqam and status of the Sahaba. There are some orators that I met in our life that I have mentioned, from the 6,666 verses of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's about 1,000 verses extolling the praises and maqam of the Sahaba. So if you remember at all times, the person who speaks against the Sahaba can never be in the deen of Islam. Can never be in the fold of Islam. He speaks against the Sahaba. Why? He is attacking the very foundations of Islam. Islam had come from them. Hadith had come from them. The Quran had come from them. If you cut off the wasta of the Sahaba in between, then we have no leg to stand on. We have no foundation. So, and these are the people that have made ihsan upon the ummah. Their questions are even in the Quran. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ يَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ يَسْأَلُونَكَ. There's about 14 questions. The Sahaba asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down wahi in reply to that Sahabi to tell them, this is the answer, this is the answer. So they had made ihsan upon us. And they had asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam such questions that made things crystal clear. For example, that one hadith that comes where it is mentioned that there are 73 sects and regions in this ummah. And only one that will be successful. They could have kept quiet and say, oh Prophet of Allah, we understand what you're saying. But he said, no, Prophet of Allah, which is that one? Their question has made things crystal clear for us. Which is that one? The firqa najiyah, that group that will be successful. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied so beautifully, Ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. That path upon which I am and my companions are. If you cut out the companions, then you cannot get that group that is firqa najiyah, the group that will be successful. So Rasulullah says, Ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. That path that I am upon and my companions are upon. However, so one companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and told him, O Prophet of Allah, give me some advice. Give me some advice and give me some brief advice. Brief advice. The advice that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him, our Shaykh referred to Shaykh Mukhtasar Rahmatullah said, look at his watch and say, look at your watches. And the advice Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him, he says, no second may were advice for them. 9 seconds it took for that advice to finish. This is how brief Rasulullah gave him the advice. 9 seconds. If I speak here for 9 seconds and they get up and go away, you will say, what's happening? You didn't get anything. But here Rasulullah just mentioned briefly an advice of 9 seconds. The first thing the Mashaykh mentioned is that when we find people come to our locality or we come across an alim or a learned person, then we should go and ask him for some advice to improve our life. When you see a doctor, we see a hakim, somebody says, there's a very big hakim in your midst, what will happen? Everybody wants to meet him. Hakim Sahib, you can meet me, hakim. When you say Hakim Sahib, Khana names are when you say Hakim Sahib, you want to benefit from him in his field and improve our health, improve our life, etc. When you meet an alim, you meet a person who's a pious person, a learned person, you go to him and ask him for some advice, to uplift our deeds, improve ourselves. This should be our object every day. How my Islah can be made? How can I get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Like you find a businessman wherever he is, even now, one of my friends is giving a beautiful example. For example, somebody that manufactures buttons, for example. He says the shop is closed, shops are closed, you're sitting now here in the house of Allah, 7:45, and that businessman is looking at certain person's buttons. Because he deals with buttons. He's not saying my faculties will only be working in this field in business hours. No, he's sitting in a Bayan and looking at the buttons of that person. Then he turns around and sees a smile back and says, his buttons. He's then followed by the side, he says, his buttons. Or he goes to a funeral. Whether he's in the funeral, whether he's in the nikah, whether he's in the Bayan. His mind is continuously working in his business line. And he's checking for those things. Oh, these buttons are something new. I didn't see this fashion here. I must do something about it. He's sitting in a funeral. He's sitting in a wedding. No, his mind is working. So the mu'min, wherever he goes, he should be linked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, trying to improve himself. Look at some good qualities. Oh, this brother is making more dua than me. I should also be making dua. Look at this person's quality of salah. I should also improve myself. This should be the fikr. That is why you find the Sahaba to sit down and says, sit down, nukminu sa'atan. Let's talk about iman for a while. In other words, let's renew our iman. Let's refreshen our iman. Let's build our iman. Let's strengthen our iman. Let's talk about the akhirah. Today, what do we talk about? Because of our mahal, how are you? How's the weather? It's very cold, very hot. Where have you been? How's business? Etc. Then he says, nobody asks, how's your iman? How are you feeling as far as your deen is concerned? How did you carry out your salat today? Was it easy for you to read the book of tilawah today? You finish your ma'amulat. We don't even ask our children and wife that today. We only ask them, how are you feeling? However, that was all in passing. So this person comes, in other words, when we find a person that's learned, that has some standing, you have some confidence in him, go and ask him for some advice. This used to be an old custom. People used to go and ask him, give us some advice, what we can do. Why? The intention was to improve themselves. Today, what happens? Person comes to and says, dua for them. Please dua, I get barakat in my children's barakat, in everything else. In other words, I don't want to change. I want to be like how I am. I feel I have my deen, I have no faults, I have no shortcomings, there's no need for Islam in my life. You just keep making dua for me. I will carry on. Mentioned once that people when I say Khalta, after I have gone to one place, to one shop. So the Hazrat just make dua for Barakat. He said, I can make all the dua. But if you have all these items here, you're dealing in interest, you're underpaying your wages, there will be no barakat. Because all those things that are empty barakat are present here. But barakat won't work. You must take all those things out. One of our Haksar Rahman to give a beautiful example. He says a person carrying out actions of barakat and rahmat. He says on one side the truck comes full of barakat. On the other lane, the truck that is turning it is the truck of lana. All the actions we're making of lana, they bring the lana of Allah, that lana comes here. Now, this lana truck don't give way for the barakat truck to come. So it's very easy to say to the alim, dua karna. And dua, mashallah, we make every day. We make every day, every salat, every moment we make dua. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. Ibadillahi salihin, the ulama write, must make niyat of the anbiya, the mu'mineen, and the malaika also. And the dua will reach there. Comes in the hadith, the dua reaches. And all those people that are in the skies and all the people that are on earth, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. If you are pious, then we all making dua for you. Every person is making dua for that person who is pious. وعلى عباد الله الصالحين ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات, inclusive of all the Muslims, those that are living, those that passed away, those that are present, those that are absent. We're making dua for you. But barakat comes when we follow the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we follow the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this Sahabi also had come to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very, very frank, O Prophet of Allah, give me some advice. And let the advice be very brief. Why the advice must be brief? Because he's not sitting there to praise Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very mashallah, very nice bayan. I'm not going to change. The bayan was very good, mashallah. I enjoyed the bayan. Some of us didn't enjoy. I said, no, bayan is not for enjoying. The bayan is for implementing my life and your life. It's not an entertainment. So he says, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, O Prophet of Allah, give me some advice. It was very brief. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been given Jawami al-Kalim. Jawami al-Kalim means few words, but the meaning is very vast. Few words. But the meaning is so vast that you can write chapters. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him three things. The first thing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, إِذَا قُمْتَ فِي صَلَاتِكَ فَصَلِّ صَلَاةَ مُوَدِّعٍ. When you stand up in your salah, read the salat of a person that's bidding farewell. وَلَا تَكَلَّمْ بِكَلَامٍ تَعْتَذِرُ مِنْهُ غَدًا. Do not say anything that will be sorry for tomorrow. And وَأَجْمِعِ الْإِيَاسِ مِمَّا فِي أَيْدِ النَّاسِ. As I mentioned, or as I shared after the mention, only 9 seconds. Become completely despondent from those things that are in the hands of people. Otherwise, don't look at what people have thought. Become completely despondent for a very short. So first Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, you stand up in the salat, read the salat of a person that is bidding farewell. Now here the ulama kiram mentioned Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam drew his attention towards salat, which is the most important aspect in our life. We have been created for ibadat. Ibadat is not only salat, but a great portion of ibadat is salat. It's the foundation. Salat al-imam al-deen. It is the pillar of deen. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the very pillar. Now, all these examples that are given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is for us to understand. What is a pillar? A pillar is something upon which a construction stands upon. If that pillar is taken away, the construction collapses. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam further elaborates, "Man aqama faqad aqama ad-deen, wa man hadama faqad hadama ad-deen." Whosoever establishes this pillar, he has established the whole of deen. And whosoever destroys this pillar, faqad hadama ad-deen, he has destroyed the entire deen. What a beautiful example, what a simple example. Even a child can understand that salat is like a pillar, or salat is a pillar of deen. Whoever establishes the salat, he establishes the entire deen. Whoever destroys the salat, he destroys the entire deen. Very, very simple fact that our forefathers had understood extremely well. That is why from the little childhood days they should get us up, tell us, reprimand us, remind us, train us to read our salah. Let us stand up, read your namaz like this. When you make qawma, when you make takbir tahrima, make it like this. When you're standing, make it like this. The elders used to do this in the homes. One of my friends says that my father used to look at the back of the masjid to see if we're there for salah. And if you are not there for salah, I tell you what happens then. He says, I might as well not go home. And his words were, I am a dead man. if I'm not there for my salah. I am a dead man if I'm not there for salah. So much emphasis on salah that under no circumstances my son must miss his salah. That is why from all the ibadat, Rasulullah has never told us, train your child when he's 7 years old how to give zakat, or how to go for hajj, or how to fast when he's 7 years old. Never told us. But in the hadith is mentioned when the child is 7 years old, then command him to read namaz. And when he's 10 years old, and in most cases, when he's 10 years old, he hasn't reached the age of puberty still. He is not binding upon himself, but reprimand him, beat him if he doesn't read namaz. Why? Why? Because of the importance of salah. Salah is such an important ibadat that it cannot be fathomed if the person doesn't read namaz. If the Muslim mu'min and he doesn't read namaz, it cannot be imagined. That's why one hadith Rasulullah tells us that the position of salah is like a head in the body. You know, simple examples, but if you just reflect slightly, can any one of you stand up here and tell me, Moulana, I have seen a person without a head? Is there any one person that can stand up and say, Moulana, I saw a person somewhere walking without a head? But there will be many who say, I saw a person without hands. I saw a person without feet walking on the crutches. I saw a person without eyes maybe, couldn't see. But I never saw a person without a head. It is not imaginable, not physically possible for a person to be walking around without a head. So Rasulullah said the position of salah means is like the position of the head in the body. Like you can't imagine the body, a headless body. You can't imagine a mu'min living, not reading salah. But let's just look around us. What is the position? And what do we see? Sometimes in our own families, sometimes in our own wives, sometimes in our own children. Why? Because we haven't given the due importance to salah. We haven't recognized what is salah. We haven't understood what is salah. Salah is that means the miraj of a mu'min, where a person actually goes up in ascends and meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is salah. Says Allahu Akbar and he meets Allah. Wherever he is, he can be in the desert, he can be in the sky, he can be in the plane, he can be anywhere. Says Allahu Akbar and he goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for this ummah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it so easy. This is the last and final ummah. Islam is the last and final deen. That جُعِلَتْ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضُ صَلَاةً وَطُهُورًا مَسْجِدًا وَطُهُورًا. That this earth has been made for you, for the entire ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a masjid, a place where you can read namaz, and a place through which you can attain purity and bhakti. What it means, you can be in any portion of the earth. You stand up and say Allah, and you read the salah, it's acceptable. You go to a masjid, mashallah, you can get more sawab, 27 times more sawab in Jamaat, but if circumstances don't prevent you, wherever you are, you stand up and you start your salah, inshallah your salah will be accepted. If you have no water, this earth is made for you a thing of purity. What do? You make tayammum and you start your salah. So simple and so easy. And the salah that Allah has given us is so simple that even a 2-year-old boy or a 3-year-old boy, you can train him how to read the salah, especially the postures of salah. In fact, a child without training does it. When you see a little child sometimes, his mommy is reading salah, he also starts off. But he ends up obviously on his face there, sleeping away when he goes to Sidda. He doesn't know how to do Sidda. He stands, he look around. He can also imitate the salah. If you train him a little bit, he can read the salah. So simple that a person can read it. Very simply he can read it. And so much love from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that when that salah was made compulsory of this ummah, then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was called to the presence of Allah. Jibreel sallallahu did come down and give salah. No, it was such a valuable and precious gift that it required the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and salah was given. And look at the mercy of rahmat and fadl. Person has to give you a certain amount, he gives it to you, and you've got it. But here, no. 50 salat are made compulsory upon us. How many? 50. And what happens? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is coming down, and Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he meets Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam asks him, what have you got for your ummah? Just this aspect will come to our mind, you won't miss our salat. Just this one aspect comes to our mind. 50 salat made compulsory upon us. Musa alayhi salam asks, 50 salat. If your ummah will not be able to carry out 50 salat. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for who? For me and for you. To intercede for me and for you. To make it easy for me and for you to carry out the obligation goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreases it. These differences appear in different riwayat. 5 times, comes back, Musa tells him again, he goes again, comes back, he goes again, comes back. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's love and compassion for me and for you was such that Rasulullah went again and again and again to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get it decreased for us, to get it discounted for us. Before it can be implemented, getting it discounted for me and for you. Till 5 namazes, even 5 namazes, Musa alayhi salam so correctly mentioned, O Prophet of Allah, even this will be difficult. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam words were what? I went, hatta stahyaytu. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hatta stahyaytu, till I became now ashamed to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to decrease it even more. So this is the love of Allah, of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam upon us. And the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him now that it has been declared as 50 and 5. Reward will be 50. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is nothing short in the treasure of Allah. The action, only 5. But reward, as it was initially set out, 50 reward for 5 salah. For every salah you get the reward of 10 salah. When Jad al-Hasan li-Faru Ashra Amtariya. Whoever does a good deed, 10 times more. Now imagine, उसके बाद भी अगर हम कहें कि बहुत मुश्किल है 5 नमाज भी हम नहीं पढ़ सकते. Imagine how ungrateful, कितने नाशुक्री है इंसान की. If after it's discounted in the sky before it came down here, the reward is full and so simple, such a simple action, but we fail to carry it out. But we fail to carry it out. We don't realize the importance of salah. We don't realize the importance of salah, because the person carries out much more difficult actions from the morning to the evening, going to your shop, driving, etc. Is that easy, or reading a few rakats of salah? What is easy? But the importance of that earning is in the heart. The importance of salah is not in the heart. Like they say, हर चीज में मजा है अगर दिल में जगह है. दिल में जगह है. Even the difficulties, hardships, you'll carry out with salah. But if there is no place in the heart, and 2 rakat salah also is like a mountain for a person. But you sit and reflect on the ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wished. There's a lot of hikmats and wisdoms, ulama mentioned, why it is 5 times a day, why this particular times a day, etc. This is ease from the side of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wished Allah ta'ala would say, I have given you so many ni'mats, now half your day you spend in ibadah. Half your day for you, half your day in ibadah. No, Allah ta'ala knows our weaknesses. Just a few rakats in the morning, few rakats in the afternoon, in the evening, Maghrib, Isha time, and you're over. Have a nice, long sleep, rest, etc. No problem. You read your 4 rakats in the morning. Fajr Salah, you're off right up to the afternoon for doing your things. You don't have to engage in Salah. Obviously, there's nothing Salah, nothing obligatory. So much ease from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but yet we find it difficult to carry out. Why? We don't realize the value of Salah. And as I say, in those days, our fathers and grandfathers knew the importance of Salah. Before everything else, if you tell the child, listen, get yourself ready to read the Salah. Child comes to masjid, come to the masjid, he sees you read your Salah. Child is standing next to his father, is reading the Salah. Finishes, his father is going to the back, he sees the son is standing there. Today also we find some children coming to the masjid. But what do we find? The father is in the first step, the child is playing outside. The child is playing at the back. He's not even sure whether he read his Salah. No. Salah is a really great gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this ummah. And He's made it such completely simple wherever we are. To just stand up before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask those people that are punctual with the Salah, the amount of relief that you get and how you comforted you feel after you perform your Salah. You never feel that without your Salah. Person with a 5-10 Salah, Namazi, if he didn't perform the Isha Namaz, he's uneasy, he's restless till he does not perform the Salah. And when you perform the Salah, he becomes completely consoled and comforted now. You can't express that comfort, how comforted he feels. Why? Because he's meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where can you get more comfort than your Khalik and your Malik? That love of ours that presents, giving us every single thing, every single ni'mat, without asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, giving to us. His eyes, his hands. How many of us made an application? Oh Allah, we want eyes, we want ears, we want hands. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it to us. Allah ta'ala is Kareem. He gives without you asking. And so many other ni'mats. And especially in our day and age and era, when you look around and you see what is happening, all the more reason to turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people with no comfort. Reminds me of that hadith that I was speaking about this morning, that when a person wakes up in the morning, Rasulullah tells us in one hadith, the person who stands up in the morning and he is completely safe as far as himself is concerned. He's in safety and security. There's no danger around him. And he's completely sound as far as his body is concerned. There's no illness, there's no sickness. All the faculties are sound and working properly. Just the other day, in fact I was talking that day in the masjid about the water. Sometimes in our country, what happens when you get up in the morning, you open up the taps, there's no water. What happened? Somebody stole the copper pipes outside. So the flow of water is not coming. You open the taps, there's no water. Calamity has come. The municipality has all the things, but outside the copper pipes are gone. That neighbor of mine told me, it made me think. He told me, Moulana, this morning when I got up, I could not relieve myself. Water from my body could not come out. And the amount of pain and difficulty and hardship that I underwent, Allah, but he couldn't even express it. It was so sorrowful and so difficult upon him. He says, I was fortunate today, it was a public holiday, that I went out, I found a urologist somewhere, and he gave me some medication and he did me. How many of us realize that this is a great ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? One person had gone to the doctor and he had given him some medication to relieve him and charged him 200 rand, a few dollars. This person began to cry. The doctor thought maybe he's overcharging him. He said, no, I'm crying. So many years of my life I have gone to relieve myself without any bill. Without any bill. But so easy for me to relieve myself. So the ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, such wa in ta'uddu ni'matullah la tuhsuha, you cannot imagine, especially in this day and age, when you look around and you see the people how troubled they are. Look at this plain tragedy that's taken place. Look at people, what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Syria, what's happening to them in Central Africa, etc. You come to see what's happening to them, you realize, oh Allah, it is your fadl and your grace that you have spared us. You have spared us, you have granted us. Some people are spared, but they have nothing to eat. They have nothing to go by. Allah Ta'ala has given us. Look at the health that we have. So that person who gets up in the morning and is completely safe and sound, there's no danger. As I say, you'll understand it today more when you look at countries like Syria, etc., what is happening, where the next bomb is coming from, where the people will come in and start firing the machine guns and who will pass away. Imagine you getting up in the morning, you're completely safe and sound. What a great ni'mah. The second ni'mah Rasulullah says is that you are in a state where you are completely sound in your body. All your faculties are working. You can hear, you can listen, you can walk, you can talk, etc. You can move your limbs, etc. What a great ni'mah from Allah. Something happens to my kidney, or something happens to your kidney or your liver, who can help you besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Doctors also now they say we can't do nothing, take the man home, there's nothing we can do. So these are ni'mahs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third ni'mah, Rasulullah says, فَعِنْدَهُ قُوتُ يَوْمِهِ, and he has the food of the day. Not the food that we have in our fridges and we have in our stores there at home, the food for the month or the food for the year. Sometimes we have the stocks we have there. No, food for yawmihi. He just has the food for the day. What does Rasulullah says? That if he has these three ni'mats, if he has security, he's sound in his health, and if he has the food for the day, it is as if the entire dunya has been gathered and given to him. How many of us realize in the morning and say, Alhamdulillah, oh Allah, you have given us this ni'mat? Why? Because we do not reflect. If one of these three things are missing, one of the three ingredients are missing, then a person is worried and parishan. If he gets up and there's no security, with all the health, he cannot stay in one place. He's scared, he's afraid. He has to move from one place to another, saving himself from his enemies, from the airstrikes, from the bombs that are falling. Or he has safety, but he has no health. Person has no health. He's got a heart problem, he's got some other serious problem. Nothing is good around him. His wife, his children, his school, his friends are not pleasing to him. Why? He does not have health. He's suffering inside. Or he has that. He has security, he has health, but he has no food. He has no food whatsoever. Can you imagine his plight and his difficulty? So Rasulullah says the person who gets up in the morning and has these three ni'mats, as if the entire dunya, the whole dunya has been gathered and given to him. He has the whole dunya. Just when he has this. So imagine for so many days of our life, if we have this, how many times Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with ni'mat? This is just one aspect. So many other aspects. So we need to turn to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and express our gratitude. And one way of telling expressing our gratitude is to carry out our 5 daily salah. That will be so simple. So Rasulullah starts off here, and if you look at the salah, it's so comprehensive that it covers up everything. Everything is covered up. All the parts of the body are in obedience of Allah in salah. The eyes also have to look at a certain place in a certain position. The hands also, the fingers also, in every position, they have a certain, they go up, they come down, they go to the side, they go everywhere. The legs also, they are completely straight when they are bending. The whole body also, the head also, and our tongue is also busy engaged, our ears are also busy engaged in the ibadah of Allah when you are performing salah. Each and every faculty of ours is engaged and busy in the obedience of Allah in salah. Similarly, if you look at salah, it is so comprehensive. It comprises of all the things you can think of. It comprises of tahmeed, it comprises of tasbih, it comprises of la ilaha illallah, it comprises of the durud sharif, it comprises of dua, it comprises of reading the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the forms of ibadah are found in our salah. Similarly, it has so many different positions. We are standing and worshipping Allah while we are standing, while we are sitting, while we are making ruku, etc. Other words, the different types of the different creations of Allah that are worshipping Allah, we carry out in one salat, in one rakat of salat, all those positions. Some say the trees are standing, the other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are flat on the ground, they are making sajda, we are also making sajda. Similarly, if you look at the different forms of ibadah, basically you find there is roza also in salah, there is zakat also in salah, there is hajj also in salah. Person facing the Baytullah, facing towards the hajj, you go to the Baytullah. Person abstaining from eating and drinking, a form of a roza in salah. A person is spending his wealth, which is the form of zakat, and he goes out, either coming in this car, etc., building the masajid, etc. Different forms of ibadah are also formed in salah. So this is a very, very comprehensive ibadah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, and a very, very simple ibadah. Very, very simple ibadah. And look at great promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, the first thing that I read in the salat tanha and fahsha wal munkar. Person has evil in him. He is inclined to the disobedience of Allah, carries out a proper salah, that feeling of disobedience will go away. Why? Allah ta'ala tells in the salat tanha and fahsha wal munkar. Stops the person from obscene activities and stops the person from the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the speciality of salah. Person carries out a proper salah, and what happens? And all these bad attributes go away. He gets saved from shaitan, etc. Shaitan cannot attack a person who's a musalli. And a person who's a musalli remains park and clean at all times. A person who's a musalli comes to the masjid, what happens? He realizes the equality of the Muslim brothers and sisters, Muslim brothers, when he stands shoulder to shoulder with them. It creates the bonds of friendship and love between Muslims. Experience it. Go to a masjid. Don't talk to anyone. Just make salat and come and read your salat. And in a short span of time, you find love generated between you and the Muslims around you. You don't know their names, you don't know who they are. But because you're standing together in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's a means of uniting your hearts. That is why you have to make the saf straight. Make your saf straight, otherwise your hearts will be divided. You stand together, it forms unity, brotherhood, love, equality. So many great benefits of salat when a person comes and reads this side during salat. Person is clean at all times. His mind becomes clean. His thoughts become clean. His ways become cleansed also with the barakah of salah. He stays away from disobedience of Allah and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And great this thing. Allah Ta'ala takes the responsibility of entering him into paradise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the responsibility. So we all want to go to paradise. We all want our children to go to paradise, our families. So here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first advice he gives him, he turns not only to salat, but towards the perfection of salat. إذا كنت في صلاتك فصل صلاة الموحدين. When you stand up in your salat, then look how comprehensive and profound the example of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The advice is, when you stand up in salat, read the salat of that person that is leaving this dunya. Now, for example, it is told to me and all of us here now that in 10 minutes time, Malakul Maut is coming to take you off. Taking you on for a ride, never to come back to this world, as you all know. So this is going to be your last salat. Now imagine our concentration, our fikr, our devotion in the namaz we're going to read now. Read 2 rakat namaz, Malakul Maut is waiting for you. Now imagine the concentration that you will have, that I'll have, and you will have. So this is my last salat. I'm going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say Allahu Akbar, you be conscious of the greatness of Allah. Allah is watching me. You read the Quran, you be conscious of the meaning. You're going into ruku, you be conscious now. Allah is listening to me. Allah is aware of everything. Imagine the level of that salat. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells the Sahabi not only to read salat, but bring your salat to that level. If the salat you are reading is like your last salat. And imagine if every person, every namaz time, Allah give me for the tawfiq, every namaz time you say, Ya Allah, this is my last salat. How much ease and comfort will you read that namaz? How much devotion and concentration will have in that namaz? How much pure fever and jazba and zeal will have in that namaz? This is my last namaz. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, in other words, make every salat like your last salat. Perfect your namaz. Comes in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sometimes a person is performing namaz for 60 years. But it's not accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Sometimes his ruku is not right, his sajda is not right. He's made mehnat and everything. Our homes, our cars, our dressing. But our salat, we never thought of going to the Imam Sahib or going to the Alim and say, check my salat. My salat correct. My posture is correct. We take it for granted. We have learned it in our bachman. Now it's okay. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is present. And one Sahabi comes in and he reads salat. And he makes salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells him, alaykum salam, irji fasalli fa innaka lam tusalli. Go back, read your namaz, he has not performed namaz. Who? A Sahabi. The time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he comes, he goes back, he repeats the salah, he comes back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, repeats it, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells him, go back, repeat the salah. 3 times he does so. Then the Sahabi comes back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Allah, I cannot carry out a better salah. This is the only salah that I know. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches him, detail and easy. But when you stand up for salah, stand up in such a manner that you are completely composed, put your hands up and say Allah Akbar. When you're standing, also stand and read the Quran. When you're going to ruku also, when you go into ruku completely, you are bent completely, and your back is completely straight, and then be in a state of calmness there, do the tasbih. When you stand up also thereafter, stand up completely erect, be completely calm, composed, then go into the next posture. Each posture, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches you. This is how you should lead your salah. Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi, the chapter here when he brings this hadith says, الَّذِي لَا يُتِمُّ رُكُوعُهُ وَسُجُودَهُ. That person that did not perfect his ruku and his sajda, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered him to go and repeat the salah. So here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling the Sahabi, make your salah the perfect salah, like the last salah in your life. And some people say there's another added meaning here, and that is that do not have long hopes. The time of salah comes, get ready for your death. Imagine that this is my last salah, I'll be giving the dunya. So don't entertain long hopes. Remind me of the story of the lady who was carrying the eggs, etc. You must have heard it many times, especially when you were young, carrying the eggs and going, she's thinking now with these eggs, I'll be doing this, and I'll be buying this, and then I'll be multiplying in this way, and I'll buy a little hen, and then I'll buy this, and I'll buy this. And certain things will happen, and I said, no, you have to do so, and all those eggs fell down, all the castles that were built fell down. Yeah. So we're not building castles, that we're going to be doing this, and this, and that, yes. For the deen, you can do so. Have great aspirations as far as your deen is concerned. I will achieve this in my deen, achieve this in my deen, inshallah. And for every intention you make, inshallah, you'll get reward. You can achieve the work. When you intention, I'm going to do this, I'm going to become after the Quran, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get married, my children, inshallah, I'm going to read the ulama, I'm going to do this. I have wealth, I'm going to assist the people. You have all those aspirations. Alhamdulillah, fine, you get the reward for it. But don't beg it for the dunya, that you forget your object. That is building this castle, and that castle, and this building, that wholesale, and another wholesale, and this car lot, and that car lot, etc. No, don't build castles. Some say it means that every namaz time, conscientize yourself about death, and do not have long hopes. Don't have long hopes of the dunya in future. Something is what it means. This is the first sentence. The ulama mentioned that in this first sentence, it is so small. There are 2 great benefits. One is the rectification of the beliefs. And the second one is the rectification of the ibadah. If a person is so conscious and so concerned about his salah, then how much more conscious will that person be regarding his zakat that comes once a year? How much more concerned that person will be regarding his fasting that comes once in a year? How much more concerned that person will be regarding hajj that comes once in a lifetime? Every namaz is taking precautions, is carrying it out, its diligency, and carrying it out here so accurately and so properly and so much devotion. So how will his level of ibadat, how great would be his level of ibadat when it comes to the other acts of worship? Together with that, when he becomes so devoted in namaz, he will conscientize himself of the Zat of Allah and the Sifat of Allah. The Zat of Allah, Allah is watching me. The Sifat of Allah, same. Allah is all hearing. Allah is all seeing. Allah is aware. Allah has this power, has that power. Then the aqaid, his aqaid also becomes strong. And belief becomes strong in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if he carries out the salat of this nature. But here 2 great aspects of Islam are brought alive just by being carrying out the salat to this level. The second sentence Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that وَلَا تَتَكَلَّمْ بِكَلَامٍ تَعْتَذِرُ مِنْهُ وَلَا تَكَلَّمْ بِكَلَامٍ تَعْتَذِرُ مِنْهُ غَدًا. Do not say anything for which you will be sorry tomorrow. Do not say anything for which you will be sorry tomorrow. In other words, calm your tongue. Look after your tongue. This is the center of communication, mine and yours, with the entire world, and with the entire creation around us, and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you communicate with Allah, we say, Ya Allah. Communicate with our friends, we say, Ya so and so. Communicate with our children, Oh Muhammad. Communicate with the animals also. We sometimes call them with different sounds. Whether it's a dog or cat, etc. We communicate. The center of communication is a small little tongue. Imagine, communication with the world around us, outside us, beyond us also. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also You communicate, you say, Rabbana, Talamna, Kusana, this is dua. This is a tongue. Small item, small thing like a tongue. So small and so tiny, you can't even see it. You can see the whole man, you can't see his tongue, hidden. So small and so tiny, but yet such a great role it plays. Here Rasulullah Sallallahu warned us that do not abuse your tongue. Do not say things. Tomorrow on the day of judgment you become regretful. How I said those things. And the ulama mentioned so strangely that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the sense that our eyes are open and exposed, our ears are exposed. The tongue is hidden. The tongue is hidden behind 32 soldiers. They are guarding it. The tongue is inside there. Before the tongue can come out, the soldiers have to give way, the scale is to open, then the tongue can come out. And the tongue has some of the other functions. Qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was imagine the tongue that you put in the mithai that came from Punjab in your mouth, mashallah, the gulab jamun is from there. You take some jalebi from South Africa and you put it there, mashallah, it's from Manjra. And you take something that came from England, what is the famous shop there in England? Amla, what is it? Amla. Yeah, Ambala. My cousin had brought some mithai from there. Oh, this is from London to Ambala and Habshi Halwa. This is there. Small little tongue, just a few inches from here to there. But it has the potential to distinguish between not sweet and sour only, not between bitter and sweet and salty only, not only the four tastes, but even the types of beauty, the types of sour, the types of sweet. This is a gulab jamun, this is a mango, this is certain fruit. It can distinguish. It has the potential to distinguish with the qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those taste buds that are there in the little tongue, that gives you the flavor of the food, whether it is the fish, whether it is the chicken that you are eating. And if this goes away, this sense goes away, then everything is equal. The meat that you are eating is equal, the dal that you are eating is equal. If you ever think and reflect, oh Allah, I know one brother does not have sense of tasting. To him he says, the bhajia you give me is the same, you give me the samosa is the same, you give me the biryani is the same, you give me the dal is the same. Within the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of us, we have a little tongue there that can identify the different tastes that we have and enjoy those tastes from year to year. Well, I would know that after you say a very deep sentence, you just say, from here, everything is the same. Everything is the same. Because the maqsad of the dunya is not eating and drinking. That will be in the akhir. Kuru washrabu hani'an bima kuntum. There you will sit and eat for hours and for years and for months and for days, etc. Here the object is just kuzran. You need something here in your machine to move on. So just from here to there is the taste. Just a little bit. But from here onwards, from here downwards, the biryani and the dal and the rice and the kebab and everything is the same for you. Because it's beyond your control. Just from here to there. So this little tongue that plays the role of tasting, how amazing if you look at the food of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah ta'ala takes that taste away from us, then we will say there's no difference in any food. What is the difference? You can make anything you want, it makes no difference to me. So however, we'll digress here a little bit. Actually the tongue, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that do not abuse the tongue. Some other hadiths we find explicit commands. Amlik alayka lisana, ihfaz lisana. Look after your tongue. Look after your tongue. Control your tongue. Because it's mentioned, jirmuhu saghir wa jurmuhu kabir. The size of the tongue is very small, but the crime of the tongue is very, very big. One poet says that, Arabic says that, جراحات السنان لها التيام ولا يلتام ما جرح اللسان. He says those arrows and the swords, etc., their wounds can heal, but the wounds of the tongue don't heal. The wounds of the tongue, they don't heal. That is why Rasulullah tells us, من سلم المسلمون من لسانه المسلم من سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده. A perfect Muslim is that person that saves the other Muslims from the evil of his tongue and the evil of his hand. Here the ulama mentioned, why did Rasulullah mention the tongue first? Because people, there's an oversight in the minds of people. They feel, थोड़ा बहुत कह दिया तो क्या हो गया? मारा तो नहीं उसको. I didn't hit him, I didn't do anything. But you're speaking, abusing him and telling him harsh words is worse than hitting him. It's worse than hitting him and causing him harm with your hands. So here Rasulullah tells him, do not say anything that you will regret for tomorrow. And in many ahadiths we are warned about the tongue. The Quran tells us, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. That there's no word that the person utters, but there's an angel there that's watching and writing down those words. Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi, in the last chapter of his kitab writes, وَإِنَّ أَعْمَالَ بَنِي آدَمْ وَأَقْوَالَهُمْ وَقَوْلَهُمْ تُوزَنُ وَيُوزَنُ. that not only the actions of Bani Adam, even their words will be put on the scale on the day of judgment. So that is why we should teach the little children. There's a lesson for each one of us till the end of our lives. Pehle socho fir bolo. Pehle socho fir bolo. Yeah, pehle tolo fir bolo. First weigh the words. Will this word be good for me? Good for that person? Beneficial for me from this dunya and the akhirat? Then speak. Don't speak and then think. What did I say? And it is this little tongue that sometimes causes the person's endless bliss and joy in the akhirat. This little tongue. Says the kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Person is 90 years old. And so many instances have happened like that. 90 years old, 80 years old, and he reads the kalima. He gets no chance to carry out one salat also, and he passes away. What happens? He goes straight to paradise. All his sins are forgiven. And what is the action of the tongue? Belief in the heart and saying la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah Rasulullah la ilaha illallah Muhammad Abdul Rasul. Small little tongue landed him into paradise forever and forever and forever. And conversely, take a situation with a person, Allah Pak save us all, lived as a Muslim, when he passed away with the words of kufr. All his actions are in vain. All his actions are destroyed. And he goes away to the fire of Jahannam. Why? Because of the utterances of the tongue. That which is completely haram for him. Completely haram to look at, to talk. He sits down in front of the alim and the alim tells him that I get you married to so and so, do you accept? He says, Nakahtuha, Qabiltuha, accept. 2 words, 1 word from his tongue, he becomes absolutely halal for him. Living with her, going with her, traveling, absolutely halal. Just married to her. Also with the tongue. This words of the tongue, that was a haram for him, that woman became completely halal, became his legally wedded wife. Similarly, if he abuses his tongue, she was married to him, Allah save us and forgive us. Sometimes such utterances come out from this little tongue that makes that woman haram for him. It's like a martyr in the whole family. Why? This person divorced his wife. The father is crying, the mother is crying, the families are broken, bitterness in the hearts, etc. Why? Abuse of the tongue. Abuse of the tongue. So the tongue is so important, so very important. And we have to realize sometimes, you say sometimes things, you break a person's heart completely by your words. You hit him by the words that you use. So Rasulullah says, do not use such words that tomorrow you will regret. This very tongue, a person goes to a person, there is enmity between them. He says, this is a master. He asks you to forgive him. There's enmity turns into love. The person begins to love him, embrace him. And this very tongue, a friendship of 50 years, 60 years, he says some words that are not good, not kind, that are harsh sometimes. Sometimes it's sarcastic, for example. That person feels hurt and the friendship is broken. 50 years of friendship, from childhood days, the abuse of the tongue breaks that off. This very tongue can gain a person great status in the akhirah. So many forms of ibadat. That time is over. So many forms of ibadat can be carried out with this tongue. You don't realize. That is why one alim writes so nicely, कि हमारा असल काम जुबान से ये कि अल्लाह का जिक्र करना, असल काम ये है, और आर्जी तौर पर हम बातें कर लेते हैं. अगर ये हमारे ज़हन में हो तो फिर हम मुसलसल जिक्र में लग जाएंगे, अल्लाह को याद करते रहेंगे और कभी कभार बात भी कर लेंगे. Don't be the opposite. तो हम असल काम क्या है? Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen us as human beings and given us a variety in life. Whatever aspect you look at, there's variety for us. Look at the clothing we wear. Sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's white, and sometimes it's green, and sometimes it's different styles. The food we eat, look at the types of food. I was telling the brother last night, going to the store, telling him if our forefathers saw all the cereals, in the morning that we eat from one line to the other line, maybe they will die of shock. If they see all the type of juices you get in the supermarket from one end to the other end, they may even die of shock. You look at the type of fruits that you have, there are different types and flavors of every single thing. There are sweets that you have, whatever you have. They will say, besides eating, what do they do in the world? There's so many varieties. Imagine the juice and the cold drink. So you go to the chip section, the child himself is confused. He doesn't know what to buy. There's some buster, and some roaster, and some all different types of names and shapes and colors, etc. These people are here just to eat and drink. Look at the variety Allah Ta'ala has given us. Look at the clothing Allah Ta'ala has given us. Look at the modes of transport Allah Ta'ala has given us. Sometimes we're in the land, sometimes in the sea, sometimes we're in the sky, sometimes in a helicopter, sometimes in a jet, sometimes in the 777, sometimes in a bigger jet. Sometimes you are going in a bus, sometimes in a tram, sometimes on a tricycle, sometimes on a bicycle, sometimes on a scooter. Different. There is no other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that rides. Show us one creation that rides. All of them have to walk. But Hazrat Insan, وَلَكَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Different foods, different flavors, different types, different clothes, different types of houses, different types of food, different types of areas that you can go to, different types of weather conditions for him. Sometimes he's living in cold conditions, hot conditions, different clothing. So much variety Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In our zikr also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say subhanallah all the time. We say Alhamdulillah all the time. That's the zikr, subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Wa in min shay'in illa yusabbihu bihamdihi. The entire place you say subhanallah wa bihamdihi. When we, sometimes we are reciting the Quran. We are looking at the manazir of Jannah in the Quran. Allah tells us, oh, this, etc. Sometimes it's Jahannam in the Quran, showing us what the reality is. Sometimes about the day of Qiyamah, the Shamsu Kuwirat, the Najum, Qadar. Sometimes about the previous nations, Yusuf alayhi salam, Lut alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam. Different incidents in the Quran. So that we remain on track. We don't go off like they went off. No. So sometimes we are reading the Quran. So every word that we recite in the Quran, 10 sawab. Alif Lam Mim, not one, 30 sawab. Keep on reciting and keep on getting more. And 10 sawab is the minimum. We always hear 10, we feel that the next is the minimum. If you read wudu, it's mentioned 25 sawab. If you read in salat sitting, 50 sawab. If you stand in salat and you're reading nafil salat, for every word that you're uttering there, you're getting 100 sawab. Now can you multiply it, how much you will get? This is the tongue, all with the tongue, ibadah with the tongue. Similarly, you read the zikr of Allah. Subhanallah, this is free for you in paradise. Alhamdulillah, free for you in paradise. Allahu Akbar, free for you in paradise. Before you come to the zikrullah, look at the different surahs of the Quran. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, you read 3 times, you get the reward of 1 Quran. You read it 10 times, you get 1 palace in paradise. You read it 100 times before you go sleep, you mention 2 days ago, Ali was mentioning, Allah Ta'ala will tell you on the day of judgment, stand up and go into paradise. You read 1 Yasin Sharif, you get a sawab of 10 Quran. You read Tabarak and Alif Lam Mim Sajda at night, saves you from the punishment of the grave. You read Yasin Sharif in the morning, all your errands of the day are made easy. You read it in the morning and evening, then you remain happy throughout the day. You read the last 3 ayahs of Surah Hashr in the morning, 70,000 angels make dua for you through the evening. You read it in the evening, 70,000 angels make dua for you through the morning. So if you want continuous 70,000 angels making dua for you, read A'udhu Billahi Samir Alim Min Shaitan Rajim, in the last 3 verses of Surah Hashr, Wallahu Alladhi to the end. And 24 hours you will find 70,000 angels making dua for you. Appointed by who? By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And their du'as are rejected. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appointed them to make dua maghfirah to me and to you, and their du'as are rejected. They will never be rejected. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has appointed them. And you can go on and on. Take each one, each surah. Surah Kaf, today was Surah Kaf. Surah Kaf, a person who recites Surah Kaf on a Friday, what did they get? See, we do not know the value. The previous sins from the last Friday to this Friday are forgiven. From this Friday to next Friday is saved from fitna. And he gets a nur that goes up from his feet right up to the skies. And that will enlighten his path on the day of paradise. And in the day of Qiyamah, we find that will be nur for him on the day of judgment. This will read in Surah Kaf on a Friday. And how long does it take? 10 minutes. First it reads Surah Dukhan on a Friday. On a Thursday night or Friday morning, one divide, all his sins are forgiven by the morning. If he reads it in the evening, all his sins are forgiven in the morning. If he reads it in the morning, then he will enter into paradise. Simple prescriptions in the Holy Quran, verses of the Holy Quran. So many other verses with so many other benefits, we can't go into the detail, all from the tongue. If you use this tongue in a constructive manner, this is what is waiting for us. Similarly, the zikr that we make of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we just say subhanallah, we know the famous incident, Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam is going with his entourage, thousands of creation, the jinn, and other birds, etc. also on the flying carpet. And one person looks at him and says, subhanallah. He stops. He hears it, he stops, and he comes down. When he comes down, this person begins to tremble with fear. Such a great man, Sulaiman is coming down. He asked him, what did you say? He said, I just said, subhanallah, what a great kingdom you have given, oh Allah, to Sulaiman al-Salam. He said, your subhanallah is more valuable than the entire kingdom of Sulaiman al-Salam. So the reward of that subhanallah will endure to the day in the Akhirat. The kingdom of Sulaiman al-Salam is only for the world. It's gone. He was gone, the kingdom is gone. But this subhanallah, so we don't realize the value. This subhanallah, if you look in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's afdal min Uhud. It's better than Uhud. And even the tree in paradise, I think in 10 minutes will get too late. The tree in paradise that you're talking about, how big is the tree? Some revised to understand it is where a fast horse will run for a period of 80 years, in some cases 100 years. That is how big the tree is. Now imagine the tree is here, and a fast horse has to run for 80 years. That's where the shade will end. So one, subhanallah, gives you such a great plot in paradise. That's what it means. And the other tree will be after that tree. So another subhanallah will give you another plot in paradise, just for one subhanallah. So one alim had mentioned that he had explained this. So somebody was sitting and reading his tasbih, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. We're supposed to read this after every salah. As for different ahadiths to mention that virtue. So he says, this person asked me, what are you doing? He says, मैं मेरा plot जन्नत में भरा रहा हूँ. जन्नत के plot में भरा रहा हूँ. Subhanallah. And this is the yaqeen that we ought to have. It is in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why would it not happen? We should have the yaqeen. When we have the yaqeen, then we'll do it. Yeah, एक मकान मुश्किल से मिलता है. Bonds, this, that, big stories, interest, not permissible. Say, you're getting a big plot just for one subhanallah. Why leave it? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us that subhanallah is more greater than Uhud, better than Uhud. Other words, greater in reward. How big is Uhud? Some say 7 kilometers, some say 9 kilometers. Just one subhanallah is better than that. Ask in the Sahabas. You ask them, who of you can carry out actions equal to Mount Uhud? Who can do that? The Prophet of Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, subhanallah. Says, alhamdulillah. Subhanallah khairun afdal min Uhud. Alhamdulillah afdal min Uhud. Allahu Akbar is afdal min Uhud. So one kalima you mentioned here, so easy, and all the time. All the time. With this little time, early the great reward in the akhirah. So this is the real use of the time. Allah Ta'ala has given it to us, then remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One Sahib has gone to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told him, O Prophet of Allah, show me some action that I can carry out, can make me free from other actions. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, keep your tongue moist with the remembrance of Allah. Let your tongue always be moist with the remembrance of Allah. And Allah Ta'ala has given us so many different types. Reading Subhanallah, when you read Alhamdulillah, when you reading Allahu Akbar, when you reading La ilaha illallah, when you reading different other forms of zikr of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, then you reading istighfar, then you reading durood upon Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Different types of durood you're reading, different wordings of durood that come in the hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, different types of istighfar that you are reading. So many different forms of ibadat Allah Ta'ala has given us to carry out in this little time. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, do not abuse your tongue. And the abusing of the tongue, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala forgive me for all of us. For example, backbiting. So common. So very common. Something happens somewhere, I come and tell the brother, you know what happened? So and so did this action. This is backbiting. That which happened, conforming to the reality, that is backbiting. Mr. Sachi baat keh raha, Sachi baat backbiting. Dhikro ka akhaka bima yakra. The companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him about backbiting, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said backbiting, ashaddu min al-zina. It's worse than zina and fornication. Certain person fornicated, everybody thinks bad of him. We think bad about it ourselves. Allah Ta'ala save us all. The person that backbites doesn't even think bad about it. Kya baat hai? It's a sachi baat hai. You say, kya baat hai? The companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned this evil of backbiting. Is the Prophet of Allah, what is backbiting? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, dhikro ka akhaka bima yakra. You talk about the Muslim brother things that he dislikes. Things that affect you. They said, O Prophet of Allah, what if it affects you? That quality is in him. He carried out that action. Rasulullah says, that is backbiting. If it's not found in him, then you are slandering him. You are slandering him, finding faults in him that are not there. Against reality, you are slandering him. And if it's there, that is backbiting. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves his bandas. Loves his bandas. Nobody has the right to talk about the next person, even if it is the fact. Allah Ta'ala doesn't like that. And Allah Ta'ala equates that. What an example he made in the Quran. Can we ever think, can a person eat something, okay, dead? A person, there's some form of najasat and filth here in front, and there's food lying here. Will I be able to eat my food when I see that najasat there? I will feel nauseous. I will feel terrible. I will not feel like eating. Why? Because there's some najasat lying here. There's some filth lying here next to the food. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَيَحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Does any one of you like to eat the dead flesh of your brother? Your brother is dead, and now you are eating his flesh. And some ulama even explain further, when a person dies, then what happens? The body decomposes and rots. It gives off a stench, etc. Now imagine you are biting on that dead body and eating. Do you like such an action? And Allah Ta'ala, you replied immediately, فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. Absolutely disliked by you. So backbiting is tantamount to that. And today it's so rife, Allah forgive me and all of us. And sometimes the person feels, I'm not backbiting, he is backbiting. Imagine the little children in the Madaris, when you go to the little maktub and tell a child, stop talking, Muhammad. He says, I'm not talking, Ahmad is talking, I'm just listening to you. So what is talking? The one person speaks and the other one is listening. That's what composes the talking. So what is backbiting? When one person speaks and the other one is listening. It comes explicitly in the hadith. The person that's listening, he also is guilty of sin just as the person backbiting. And this is the job of a coward person. Why? Because he's talking behind his back. He's talking behind his back, he wants to degrade him. And this stems from pride. You're not saying it, but मैं कितना अच्छा आदमी हूँ, मेरे अंदर में यही नहीं, इसके अंदर में. So the listener thinks very good about you, आप बड़े अच्छा आदमी, he's a bad person. So this is the act of a person that's coward, person that has a very shallow personality, person that is weak, person that is mean. That person will back by the next person. And this has become so common in our society. Talk evil about a person, talk evil about a Muslim brother, eat his flesh. Sometimes our real brothers eating the flesh. Eating the flesh of our real brothers. We're talking ill about them. So this is the abuse of the tongue. Sometimes we're talking harsh to the wife, harshly to her, addressing her in a manner that's not befitting. Sometimes to our servants, sometimes to our slaves, sometimes to those people working for us, sometimes to somebody who did something wrong, hurt us in some way. Talk harsh against him, talk evil, try and break his heart, try and lash him with your tongue. You feel you're not doing anything, but you are breaking his heart with your tongue. You broke that person's heart with your tongue. Now it's hard to get that heart right again. It's very hard. That mark is now engraved therein, and sometimes it remains either to death. आपको मालूम नहीं इसने मुझे क्या कहा, कितना बुरा भला कहा, मालूम नहीं. माफ कर दो. You don't know how he addressed me. The lehja which he addressed me, how he spoke to me, how harshly he spoke to me. Dear Rasulullah reminds us about our tongue. Look after your tongue. That is why you will be surprised. In one hadith is mentioned, the thing that goes most heaviest on the scale is good akhlaq. In one place, silence. Silence also constitutes an ibadah that will be put on the scale and will be heavy on the scale. So you find sometimes the envy people. You're sitting with a man sometime in a gathering, he doesn't utter one word. He just sits there quietly. Man sakata najah, man sakata salib. Rasulullah mentioned many hadiths that a person that kept quiet is safe. He's got najat, he kept quiet. So many times the person just keeps quiet, doesn't say anything. That's najat. Some people's nature, mashallah, you talk to them also, people shy, they just keep quiet. They don't speak. Some people sit for hours and they don't speak. That is itself in ibadah. Remaining silent in ibadah. And that will weigh heavy on the scales. So Allah Ta'ala give me an also tawfiq. We have so many uses of our tongues. And one of the things that even a Jannati will regret, even a person who going to Jannah will regret. Imagine now, you went into Jannah where all the ni'mats are there, all the ni'mats are found. How can you be regretting there? Yes. Person will regret in paradise over that point in time, or that period of time that they passed in the world, it was empty of the zikr of Allah. Why? Because the zikr of Allah is so easy. Person is lying down, every portion you can be remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and great rewards for you. Every portion. And one of the greatest rewards is this: if you remember Allah, Allah remembers you. See, all these verses should be in our mind. That is why one person should say, मुझे याद है जब अल्लाह मुझे याद करता है. कैसे आपको याद है? मैं अल्लाह को याद करता हूँ. अल्लाह फरमाते तुम मुझे याद करो, मैं तो याद करूँगा. So I know exactly that Allah is thinking of me. When I think of Allah, He thinks of me. So if you have that for the lover, that is sufficient enough. Somebody comes and tell you, you know what, so and so, your friend so and so in London was talking about you, was thinking about you, how nice you feel. Certain pious person was talking about you. Certain Guru and Wali of Allah was talking about you. MashaAllah, you feel so nice about you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about you. Allah ta'ala is remembering you. Can there be anything more greater, anything more sweeter for a person to have love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Some people say there was no benefit for zikrullah. Only this was the benefit. That also was sufficient. जब हम अल्लाह को याद करते अल्लाह हमें याद करते बस यही काफी था हमारे लिए अल्लाह को याद करने के लिए. The person goes into paradise, no regret, but except for that moment that he passed in the dunya, it was empty of the zikr of Allah. Why? The zikr of Allah is so simple, so easy, but it stems from here when you have love for Allah. Man ahabba shay'in aksara zikru. Saying in Arabic, whoever loves something, he mentions it a lot, abundantly. What do we mention abundantly? Maybe the dollar rate, maybe the business, maybe young person may mention his fancy cars, etc., what he loves that. He keeps talking about it. It comes naturally because he loves it. In his heart, what's in your heart comes out. If you have the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your heart, it comes out. It's very simple to get the love of Allah. Very simple to end up here when you get too late. The love of Allah is very, very simple. Very simple, the love of Allah. Three things. Shaykh mentioned, especially Moulana after mentioned, three things to get the love of Allah. The simple thing is to start off reflecting on the ni'mat of Allah. Reflect on the ni'mat of Allah. For example, look at yourself. What the ni'mat Allah has given you. Especially in current day affairs. And look at people that say there's no food. See there, they told us there's no food. People said one day, there's no food, Moulana. There's no way of getting food to these people. And look at the type of food we are eating. So coming on the flight, I was looking at the plate before us. Just the fruit itself, there were 5 types. 32,000 feet above sea level. 5 types of fruit only. Besides the other food is given us. Not our kamal. Favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all these ni'mat are such, we cannot thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You go to the store and you go and buy a box of grapes. How much did you pay? $10? $20? Is that the price of those grapes? $20. Those grapes were planted in a certain place. And they grew in a certain place. So many people are looking after us. So many weather conditions have to be favorable for those grapes to grow. Then they were cut out, they harvested, and they were put in boxes, packed. Then they went to the wholesalers. Then it came here to the retailers here. Then it came to your store. And you went down the store and picked it up. For all that, and you can go even further, there's no time. All those machinery that went to get the ground right, those seeds that went in, the water that went in. It's long, your mind-boggling. You cannot end. All those irons that were there for those tractors, or for those hoes that were used, all those mines that worked to get that seed there, all the transport that was there, all those things that went into those vehicles that were created in the form of rubber, the form of petrol, etc. Things, it will take you hours. All that went in there, and thereafter all those processes were carried out, and this has come to your Dastar This for $20. No. This is just the handling charges. For that man in the greengrocer, the handling charge is $20 to give it to you. The real thanks of that is Alhamdulillah. Oh Allah, you have made it happen. You over there, sitting in New York, this is your quota for water. You lived for 50 years in this world. This is your quota for water. There's your water. Who of us can look after that water? There's your quota of fish that you'll be eating. Here it is. You live for 50 years. Here it is. Look after it. Can you look after it? The rice you're eating, coming far away. How many times it went on the waves like that? Planted in the Pakistan, remote areas of Pakistan or India, basmati rice, you're eating thousands of kilometers over the sea, it has come. And comes to your table, to the wholesalers. Now something is making it very short for you, and tell me, and you are eating it. Do you know who planted it? Do you know who looked after it? Do you know who watered it? Do you know how much effort they went into it? You don't even know. You don't even think. You don't even reflect. You forget even to say, Alhamdulillah, oh Allah, you have given me this ni'mah. You take each item on the table. That will make you the wali of Allah itself. Just looking at the food that we're eating. That will make you the wali of Allah, the friend of Allah, the love of Allah will come into your heart. Oh Allah, how great you are. If all that is minus all those goals, how will I get the price for Pakistan here in New York? How will I get it? Then if I ask you, I always tell my children, when you're eating that morsel, can you count the grains of rice that you ate today? Can you tell me how many they were? You've got no time to count it also. Maybe you can't even count it. The grains of rice that you are eating. So much ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yet no reflection. To reflect on the ni'mat of Allah, this will create the love of Allah. Oh Allah, how great you are. As I say, you brought me safely from South Africa, thousands of kilometers. I could have went the route of that Malaysian Airlines. How many times those engines they were firing to get here? How many minds had worked to get the jet into position? How many gallons of liters of petrol had gone there? How many minds had worked to get all the food there and do all the work to get it there, to get you here? Just for a couple of $100 to come here, a couple of $1,000s to come here, doesn't make sense. Because all those things are so great that it will cost you a fortune to come here. You make your own planes, etc. The goodness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is just the dunyawi ni'mat. What about the ukhrawi ni'mat? As I mentioned this hadith, that comes from Abu Hurairah, for example, from the time of Rasulullah, over 1400 years, this hadith has traveled from Medina Part has come here to New York. How many people were involved in looking after the hadith, safeguarding the hadith, the text of the hadith, the words of the hadith, explanation of the hadith, and it came to you and to me. How much do we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for preserving this deen and giving it to us. There's no nation on the face of the earth that has its deen preserved like this, even in the past. Not the Christians, not the Jews, that had their deen like this, so authentically preserved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran Pak, each and every word, like it is in the Lawh Mahfuz, it is like that in the Quran here. Like it was in the Mubarak Sina of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like Jibreel had come down. That very Quran is between me and your midst. Unless sometimes we don't have time to touch this Quran. So busy, so ghafil, so unappreciative of this great ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine speaking directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the Quran. You are speaking directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are ni'mats that we should reflect upon. All the ni'mats. The more you reflect on the ni'mat, the more love you will get of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Somebody gives you one thing, somebody gives you some gift, and you remember that person, you appreciate him. Every gift is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Quran tells us Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever ni'mat you have, whether it's the fact that you are seeing, hearing, speaking, moving, thinking, the blood is flowing. We don't know our own bodies also. How does blood flows? How many times his heart beats? Over 100,000 times in one day. Over 8,000 liters in one day. Just one portion. How many neurons we have here, nerves in our brains? Billions, not millions, billions. How many things we have in our blood, the cells in our blood, the red cells, the white cells in our blood, the doctors will explain to you. How many taste buds we have in our tongue, they explain to you. How many nerves we have here behind here, the rod cells and the cone cells behind the eye, the optic nerve, how this works, how we take these hundreds of pictures every day to make out that is by do so and so, this is so and so, this is so and so. How is it working? Qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Recently we went to a jalsa in South Africa of blind people. The person that was blind, here's the last hadith of Bukhari, is blind. Just think to ourselves, Ya Allah, imagine you have given us sight. How much do we appreciate the sight? And they are reading the Quran, blind people in brave. Reading the hadith, the Bukhari says the last hadith, the person was blind. One was from London, one was from Malawi, they qualified there, South Africa last week. The blind narrator. The Qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us eyes. Eyes, the gateway to the world. You can see the earth, the sky, our friends, our fools, our beloved ones, our dear ones, our dear ones. We can differentiate between all the Qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our eyes and appreciate that subhanallah, oh Allah, look at this creation, look at that creation. But how? Where do we use our eyes? Come close to Allah, we go away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So reflect on the ni'mats of Allah ta'ala and you get the love of Allah. Together with that, join the ranks of the pious people, ulama kiram, the mashayikh, sit with them. They have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their hearts, in their tongues. When you sit with them, you get affected by their company. You will also get the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People don't understand this. It's very difficult, you know. Ask that person, he's sitting alone. They go and sit down in the elite people there. And they are talking about properties in New York, here, there, and everywhere. After such 2 hours with them, ask him, do you also feel like purchasing something there? What will he tell you? Definitely, I felt very cold and left out when I was sitting in the company. Nothing they did to you. They only spoke among themselves. When you sat in that company, you were affected. Forget the elite people. Bring a little child here now. A 2-year-old child and put it here next to our friends there. What will happen? 5 minutes time you find the friend also behaving like a child, making like this and so on. The sohbah of the child is affected by it. So why won't he be affected by the sohbah of that person that has the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You sit there. Our Shaykh will give the example of Raat ki Rani. She says, Raat ki Rani koi lamba bayan to nahi deti. Raat ki Rani, I'm not talking about this woman here, you go all from Indo-Pak. Raat ki Rani is the flower. The flower that has such a beautiful smell in the evening. It doesn't give a big bayan to introduce itself. It just gives off a flavor and a fragrance and an aroma. And you are enjoying that aroma. It doesn't give a bayan. So similarly, when you sit by a person that has the love of Allah and you sit in this gathering, you will also get the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And together with that, make a little of zikrullah. Think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When a person talks about something, the love comes into the heart. Speaks about it. Talk about the posh cars every day, then you feel like I must also get one. Talk about it the whole day. See? It works both ways. What's in the heart comes out here, what's here goes back into the heart also. That's why they say when you go out in the path of Allah, talk about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so it comes into your heart. And as I said, what is in the heart comes onto the tongue. So you make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if it's subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Be punctual just on this tasbih after every salah. After every salah, not only after Asr and Isha, after every salah. Just this you start off with as a zikr. It's also sufficient. It's sufficient, the stepping stone, inshallah, to become the wali of Allah and to make zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And read it with the presence of the mind and heart. Consciously read it. When you say Subhanallah, one alim explains so beautiful. You say Subhanallah means, oh Allah, I am full of faults. From the top to the bottom, you are free of faults. Glory be to you, oh Allah. Say with the presence of mind. When you say Alhamdulillah, oh Allah, I am worthy of no praise whatsoever. Absolutely nil. All praise is due to you, not to me. So anything and everything is going to, it's only you, oh Allah, Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar, may subject Allah, you are the greatest. Mufti Zainul Abidin Rahmatullah say a deep thing. You will say to take away your pride, Allahu Akbar is sufficient. Only the word Allahu Akbar is sufficient. And I sat down with the calculator, working out how many times in our Sharia do you hear or say, or hear and say Allahu Akbar in a day. If you count all the times of Azan, Iqamah, and the Salah, it comes over 500 times. 540 some odd times. All the rakats of Salah, and Azan, and Iqamah, and this what you read after every Salah. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. And when you go to bed, that will be you read Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. So about 547 times a day, you listen to Allahu Akbar and you say Allahu Akbar. But do we have the greatness of Allahu Akbar in our hearts? If not, why? We say it, but it becomes routine. It just becomes a routine. We just follow routine. We do not say it with the presence of the mind, with the consciousness of the mind, Allahu Akbar, my Allah is the greatest, we do not say it. That's why I was joking with somebody. I told him, if I tell you that so and so, he opened up a business and then he had the profit of $10 million. You tell a person that, and what happens? He said, what? $10 million? Now, the heart is speaking. In other words, such a great amount of money. $10 million, in other words. His voice changed, his lehenga changed, his expression changed. $10 million to show the azmat of $10 billion is in his heart. But the azmat of Allahu Akbar, not there. Not even worth that $10 billion, ma'adallah. So we need to just concentrate ourselves. Just a little bit of concentration to find the azmat of Allah coming, the love of Allah coming. As I mentioned, Mashaykh mentioned three things. One, to reflect on the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the bounties. In ourselves, within ourselves, around us, etc. The dini bounties, the dunyavi bounties, etc. A little bit in a day, 5 minutes in a day also. Just reflect. And you keep reflecting, you realize how favored we are. How favored we are by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And especially when you see somebody who has no eyes, make shukr in the eyes that you have. Somebody that's walking and you are driving, shukr in the vehicle. Somebody has no food and he has food, make shukr. And together with that, make a solemn pledge to be grateful to Allah ta'ala by being obedient to Allah.